Can I bother you real quick? Are you a pilot? You mind if I ask you just a couple questions about air flight?
Air flight?
Yeah, I mean, just like the mechanics and the physics of air flight.
Okay.
So, like one of the things that I've been thinking about and have heard recently in terms of fuel. So, where does the airplane store the fuel? Where is it kept?
Uh, well, typically in the wings. Sometimes in the, there'll be an auxiliary tank in the bottom of the belly.
Okay. And so, if we're looking at that wing right there, it looks pretty thin.
Hmm.
So, you're saying that there's fuel in there?
Yeah.
Okay. And
Yeah,
is it
because the fuel gives the wing, it creates support and solidity in the wing.
okay? So you would say the fuel stabilizes to some extent.
Uh, yeah,
It gives it
sure.
stability. Gives it. Okay. So is it in liquid form?
Hmm.
Okay. So I mean, I've driven cars before. I've driven trucks that have large or large water containers in them, and that water, when it sloshes back and forth, I mean, it seems
Yeah.
to like it would be less stabilizing than.
May I so have there's your attention, please? I know the
All
airplanes I
traffic
fly. I'm
in
not
any unknown
100%
person
sure on
or
those
temporary
airplanes, but
through
in the
any
airplanes I
other,
fly, the wings
including
have
London or Frankfurt
rib
on your
structures in
flight,
the wing
do not
that
accept it.
you know
And certify your
minimize the
London
sloshing
Okay.
around.
Okay. And so is the fuel used the entire time from takeoff all the way to landing?
Yeah.
So one of the other things that I've heard is that most of the fuel usage is in takeoff to get the plane off the ground, and once it gets to a certain place, then the jets, which use high compressed air that
Mhm.
suck air in and blow it out, that's what actually propels the plane from point A to point B for the most part. So that fuel consumption is actually very minimal.
Uh, no, the plane's burning fuel the entire time. It's the engine's running. It does get more efficient as it gets higher.
Okay.
Uh, So yeah, it does reduce the amount of fuel that it's burning, but it is burning fuel the whole time.
Okay. And then if one of the other things that I heard too is that somebody said because there was talk about a lot of the exhaust the exhaust trails that come out of the airplanes.
Hmm.
One of the things that I've heard somebody say that it could possibly be fuel dump, but how does I mean I
Now,
wouldn't imagine.
fuel dump doesn't come out of the engines. The fuel dumps from the wing, and it's only in emergency situations.
What would be the emergency if you would dump fuel?
Uh, so the airplane's got a maximum landing weight, uh, that it can land at, and when an airplane's full of fuel and passengers, typically it's over that maximum landing weight. So say if you were to take off and one of your engines failed, or you had a pressurization issue or some mechanical problem that requires you to land right away.
Right.
You
It would
gotta,
have to be at takeoff because if
yeah,
you've been in the air for a while, then you're burning your fuel, so
sure,
you're not going to have that too much when you're going to land, right?
typically.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then, so what about the dumping? I mean, how is that in terms of the ecology? How does that? It's not. I mean, you
No,
wouldn't
I mean
imagine you're going to
it,
dump fuel on a city.
yeah, no, I mean, yeah, I mean like I said, it's an emergency situation, so I'm sure it's not great for the
Have you ever been in a
environment.
situation where you've had to dump fuel?
The airplanes I fly actually don't
Oh, they're not.
have that capability.
Okay, so there's some that
Right.
is it the larger ones then, or?
Yeah.
Okay.
It's aerosolized enough that I mean somebody sitting on the ground's not going to get a shower of fuel on them, but yeah, I mean I'm sure it's not good for
So
the
you,
environment.
yeah. So you're saying it breaks down a bit when it's
Yeah, sure.
from the point of release to the point of touchdown on the ground.
Right.
Okay. One of the other things that I have a question about, and that is that when you reach cruising altitude at say 35,000 feet, right? And you level off,
Hmm.
you're flying level,
Right.
right? And the instrument that you guys use
Hmm.
is a false horizon, a gyroscope of some sort,
Right.
right?
Hmm.
Is it mechanical? Is it electronic?
Uh, in my airplanes, it's electronic,
It's electronic.
but we also have a standby one that's a mechanical gyro.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. And so when you're up at 35,000 feet and you're flying level,
Hmm.
I don't know if you've ever thought about this, but I'm interested in your response. If the Earth is curved the way that it's supposed to be curved,
Hmm.
then the Earth is going to be falling away from you. And if you're flying at 35,000 feet and you're staying level the entire time and the Earth is falling away from you, then you're going to be increasing your altitude the farther and farther out you go. Wouldn't that be?
That's an interesting perspective.
Yeah, right? I mean, it is. It's very interesting to think about it. I'd never thought about it until someone brought it up, so that's why I'm asking you.
Yeah.
So my question would be,
Yeah, I mean, why
Does
don't
the
I
gi-
fly into space? Is that the
right,
question?
right. You got to think of the tangent line,
Yeah.
and you're going to be keep going straight. That's exactly right. Yeah. That is exactly right.
I've never been into space.
Well, right. Okay, so here's the question. So how is it that if you're flying level, that you're also dipping down? Is there any? Can you? I mean, do you
Yeah.
even?
I mean, I'm not an astrophysicist by any means, but
Actually, I don't think that's an issue because it's so simple. I mean,
I mean, gravity is a constant. You know, the shape of the world. I mean, you still have gravity pulling you towards the center of the world, so it's not like gravity's pulling you on a plane so that it's gonna allow you to fly off away from the center of the earth. So and you're not flying 100% level when you're flying, because the airplane's got to maintain a certain pitch attitude to keep you at the altitude it's indicating. So it's not.
So can you kind of describe that a little bit for me? I understand to a certain extent. Are you saying that the nose is angled up
Yeah.
to a certain? But wouldn't that mean that you're going to continue to ascend and
No,
climb?
because the nose is pitched up to counter the weight forces on the airplane. So if you're at full gross weight, you're going to have to maintain a little bit more pitch to keep the airplane flying level.